another episode of Talk to Tat, real people, real talk, real life. I am your host, Tatiana Monet, and I have some family with me today. I'm very, very excited for this week's episode because I'm in H-Town with my god sister and my brother. I'm so happy to have them here. Y'all introduce yourselves.
I'm Bree.
I am Dion.
Tell people how they could connect with you on social media.
You can follow me on Instagram at itsbthang. ITSBTHANG. It's Bthang. You can follow me on Instagram.
Instagram, Ella Trey.
Yes, and we're all from Chicago, but you know, we like to scatter around, have our own adventures and stuff like that. So I took a little trip to Houston just to be with them, and they have definitely changed my mind on how Houston can be, because my first experience with my best friends was partly a shit show. Like, it really was. But the nightlife, it was lit. We ain't had to worry for nothing. But the daytime, y'all, we were crying, like we were mad, we wanted to fight hoes, like it was crazy. And that leads me into the topic of today's episode, which is traveling, issues and headaches. I know I have my fair share, but I would like for my guests to go first. What issues or headaches have y'all had with y'all travel experiences that y'all want to share to the audience?
Honestly, I really haven't had too many terrible travel experiences in the airport. I have had a handful, so
if y'all hear anything jiggling, that's the dog. There you go.
When I had went to Cabo, I really did not really enjoy myself a lot because when we went, it wasn't that warm. It was like in the 70s, so it was like kind of windy, wasn't that warm. But when we left, the airport, like, for some reason they like was out of electricity, so they were doing everything manual, so it made the like going through customs, going through everything like so much longer. So what we had got there like 3 hours early, but was still finding ourselves rushing to the gate because the process had took so long. And then they also were trying to like basically like whoever was flying earlier, they were trying to get them out first. But I'm like, I've been waiting, so they not finna cut me. So we like, no, you finna get our shit checked in
first
now.
Come, first serve. And
then once we got through TSA and everything, you like, damn, let me just eat something before I go. Oh, we're only taking American money. We're not taking any debit cards. We're not taking any pesos. And I was really irritated because the night before we had went to the club, and I had paid for me and my homegirls drinks in American money, but they gave me my change back in pesos. So I had all these fucking pesos that I couldn't fucking use because everybody wanted American money. So then I luckily had like $26 and I was short like 75 cents. So this like,
I hope they didn't make a hassle over
so like this, you know, they were. So this couple behind me, I was like, I'm sorry, do you have 75 cents?
Now
like,
you gotta ask. Like
I looked poor as fuck. Luckily they was like some black girls. They was like, girl, here. And they gave me $1. And I was like, and I told you how to get it back. They was like, girl, keep it. Like, we don't fucking want the dollar. But I was like, I'm never going back to fucking Cabo. Like, fuck that shit. Like,
they knew what it was, and I think that that's an opportunity for them to get over on Americans.
Hell yeah.
What about you, bro?
I've had several experiences that were bad at the airport.
I think I'm vibing with you more. Like, I had a couple.
From my dog not being able to get on the flight as I'm boarding, from being in the air, going from like maybe Chicago to Houston and getting delayed in Dallas and then ending up in New Orleans, and going from like 3 different cities
on a nonstop
flight was crazy. But most recently, my company, we went to LA and we were part of that data
outage.
Yeah, that data like outage glitch. And like our trip was from Wednesday to Friday, and I was in LA almost until Sunday. My flight got canceled 3 times. Like, there's a lot going on. So yeah, I've experienced my fair share of flight issues and airport issues. But what I'm learning is just be patient, and also like most of the time what's comforting is it's like it's not only happening to me.
True.
Like especially when the data breach glitch thing happened, like everybody's flight got canceled, everybody was scrambling, and yeah, so just stay patient. That's the best advice I got.
Here's why I have no empathy when it comes to traveling issues, because I've been through some of the worst situations, like people having health disparities and that's delaying the flight. Or for instance, I had I interviewed for Spirit Airlines. I made it to the final stage where now I have to just fly to wherever they want me to go, and I do that little part, that in-person interview part. How is it that y'all cancel my flight on Spirit to go to a Spirit interview? And then y'all talking about there's no other flight opportunity that I have because I had to do the interview within a certain amount of time. So y'all send me this information within this time, and then another like makeup flight wouldn't have been until after this flight. What the heck did my phone just do? No! You're gonna edit that out. Oh my God. And your battery about to die. What the hell just happened? We're still going though?
Yeah.
You'll be able to send this to me?
Yeah,
on my iPhone? Okay. I mean my iPad.
Yeah, I'll grab it. I'll grab it off the SD and send it to you.
Please do that. Okay, so we'll just keep going on this one. Yes.
Well, I don't know what else you're supposed to expect from Spirit, to be honest.
But it was for employment issues, and that's the thing that was pissing me off, because it's
make
like,
it any better.
I mean, but it doesn't make it any better. So it's like, if I can't even trust you to do an interview, I can't even trust you.
You already
with
knew
my life.
what type of employee.
Okay, we had some technical difficulties, but it does happen, and this is real people, real talk, real life, so this is exactly what it is. But I was talking about being an interviewee for Spirit Airlines and how they canceled my flight, and it was no other time to have a flight getting there where I would still be able to make the interview. So that was tacky as I don't know what to me. Then, like I talked about people having health disparities and stuff like that. One thing that bothers me the most is if you know you got a bad child, like your kid is just like, you can't take your kid nowhere. It's one thing if your child act up every now and then, but it's like if your kid never has any type of act right, and you bring them on this plane during the times where people need they sleep the most, like the first flight in the day or the last flight in the evening, and not only that, you do not silence your kid. Like, you just let them holler the whole time. Like, you don't have no game, you ain't got no food, you're not like being black about it and taking them to the bathroom, because we all know what that saying is. Like, you want to go to the bathroom? Like, we know, no, I want to go to the bathroom. You're not doing none of that. You just letting that little fucker cry. That is one of the most annoying things to me. And also ignorant passengers. You got people that will, like, for instance, me, my mom, and my sister, my youngest sister, we were going to Mexico, and this dude who was separated from his family, like as far as like roles on the plane were concerned, he decided to get up and like elbow his way through the aisle to get to his family, like knocking over old women, children, me. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Out of nowhere, my sister just apparates. If y'all listen to Harry Potter, y'all know what apparated means. It's like, because she was, me, her, and my mom were split up. So she just apparated right next to me and was like, what happened? Who was that? And I'm like, I don't know. But we both ready at this point. My mom was at the front of the plane. You blink your eye, my mama was, who was that touching my kids? Like, she was right there, like real mama bear. But people are so ignorant. Like, if you don't have your luggage ready, and it's like people who already standing up, and you know you finna take 50 years to get your luggage down and stuff like that, let them people walk by. You know what I mean? Like, especially if you know you're gonna take all day, you're gonna need some help, you're gonna do all this or this or that. Just wait until there's like a understandable pause in the deplaning process for you to get on. Or I hate when people act real dumb when they getting on the plane, like this not even your flight. Why you want to take up the gate agent's time? And you could go to your gate that you're supposed to be at, but you want to hold us up asking ridiculous questions and stuff like that. Like, you know, I don't like stuff like that. Or like, I've been on a plane where somebody is legit tweaking and they want to keep the whole plane up with them. Baby, I'm tired. I don't care if you recover from an addiction or whatever is going on with you. And I say that because I was on Southwest, and y'all know Southwest. I love Southwest to death, but sometimes they known for being a little bit ghetto, and that's just what it is. Like, y'all be having y'all own way of saying like your speeches and stuff like that. And it's like, I know that's not in the verbiage, but whatever. I'm with it, right? But like, you'll have like this one lady, every few minutes she had to sit on the floor. The floor, like up front, where people who, if you got bags and stuff, you gotta put them like in rows behind you and stuff like that. She was like, I have to sit on the floor. She rocking back and forth real antsy. I have no certification, no type of medication, or even just the emotional wherewithal to deal with you if you got all them issues going on. You know, like some people are actually trained to deal with people who got like mental issues. The general public is not. So it's like by you bringing them issues on the plane and then the flight staff just looking, it's like, y'all got FAA regulations, I understand that. For me to be a tax-paying citizen, there should be certain things that I should not have to deal with when I get on the plane, especially because y'all got fire marshals, y'all got whatever trained on the plane there just in case anybody is acting any type of crazy as far as like a safety precaution is concerned. But my mental wealth and mental health is also something that should matter too. My comfortability. I paid for this flight. You know what I mean? So like having that person elevate my anxiety. First of all, being in an airport or on an airplane is already a high stress, fast-paced moving environment. The last thing I need is somebody else bringing their problems on the plane. You know what I mean? If you know you snore loud as hell, get some breathe right nasal strips. Like, don't be sitting there snoring, leaning all on your travel buddy who y'all really don't know each other. Or you like that one lady who just got the itch and she just gotta like rub her thigh and sit on the floor and rock back and forth and have these like mini tantrums on the plane. It's like, we don't have no airline for people who have mental disparities. So that means you got to be with the rest of the general public. At the very least, bring somebody with you that know how to calm you down, get your medication, whatever you need to do, get a animal, whatever. I'm just saying, like, that stuff crazy. And my last little tidbit on my rant, because I know y'all got some comments, is I know I am relatively small. I'm 5'1.5", right? And I am 152 pounds. I'm a very tiny person, slim, thick, okay? If you are physically intense, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, and you know you should have bought 2 seats, the last thing I need is for you to be trying to squeeze next to me. I think that is the most annoying, inconsiderate thing. Granted, would you sit next to a person that's just as big as you are? No, and I get that. But just because I'm small doesn't mean I want my space suffocated. I rest my case.
No, I understand your points 100%. I think that you just have to, as you,
I know you got something to say.
As you fly, you start to notice it's just like essentially a Greyhound or a Megabus on air.
Yes.
So like you have to kind of find like the things that, at least for me, what makes flying a little easier is finding the things that like you know will like help you
A book.
Be a little. I mean, yeah, but finding things that you know in terms of the plane that you know are gonna like help you be less annoyed. Like for me,
Alcohol.
I don't like alcohol as well. But for me, I don't like to sit on the edge or in the middle because at the edge people have to get up a lot. They have to go to the bathroom. In the middle, you're squished between people. So if it's my choice, I'm going to sit by the window almost all times. I don't have to move. I don't have to get out of anybody's way. I can go to sleep. If somebody's being annoying, like I'm in my own space. If the plane is full, like, yeah, it's going to be like people sitting near us, but I get to lean my head against something. I can kind of be more comfortable.
You ain't perturbed.
Yeah, so that one, but definitely just finding stuff that makes flying a little bit more easier. Like having your like snacks and having your like, you know, not being cheap, paying for the Wi-Fi, watching a movie, like being able to text, whatever you need to do to find yourself comfortable, because flying is, like you said, already high anxiety. Like so many different things can go on, like so many different like additional fees according to whatever plane that you're gonna get on. So
baggage hassles.
Yeah, it's a lot that go into it. So just, I think for me, finding like whatever I can do to get the most comfortable, putting my AirPods in and just riding out whatever ride I got, and that's been good for me. And in terms of like annoyances, like my biggest annoyance would be when like the plane is time to get up. I understand, because we've all done it before. Like you're ready to get off, like you just might kind of just rush to get off, grab your things. But I think the easiest way to get off a plane is just allow it to go row by row, seat by seat, even though it might be a little slower, even though people might take time to get their things from the overhead.
People be acting dumb though.
I agree with that. But imagine somebody coming all the way from the back of the plane, trying to brush past everybody to get off of the plane because they just think like, okay, I need to get off. Like everybody want to get off, and that's my biggest thing with like airports in general, is like just general respect. Like you might have a connecting flight, you might need to rush to get off the plane, but everybody who paid for a ticket on this plane has shit to do once they get off this plane. That's why they're on the plane. So just like, it will go so smooth in my opinion if everybody just go, just get up, grab your shit. Might take the older people a little second, grab your shit, and just move one by one.
But if your stuff is 3 rows back, like 3, 4, 5 rows back, and you got to squish through all them people, because when you got on the plane, you wanted the seat up front. Instead of you sitting closer to your bags, you sat at the front of the plane and your stuff is in the middle of the plane.
And that's why I say too, like, we were talking about this a little bit off camera before, but like the male experience, at least for me, versus the female experience is a lot different, because I travel so light in terms of like how many restrictions I'm gonna run into. I'm only flying somewhere where they allow me to have, funny that you talk about Spirit, like a $20 flight, but they're gonna make you pay everything, your bags, your carry-ons, everything. Water. But like, I make sure that I have at least a plane that allows me to have a carry-on and a personal bag. So at least for me, I got a big duffel bag. I'm squeezing everything I need in there, put it above head, or it could fit underneath my seat, my carry-on. I also got me a little crossbody, you know what I'm saying? So I have all my things with me. So even if it can't go ahead, it can go under. So when I'm ready, when the plane stops, I get up. I have my bags. I go. I don't need to go to baggage claim. I don't need to do nothing else. And I know, like you said, like with women, well, we got extra shoes.
Yes,
we got extra accessories. So I can understand how y'all experience is a little different. And I'm not speaking about men in general, just for me, because I know men who are very much into themselves that have like extra bags, extra shoes. I'm saying, for me, I make flying as least stressful. I'm not wearing an outfit that's gonna beep and have all these things. I'm not wearing like my best shoes, because I know I need some slides on, because I'm gonna have to take my slides off real quick and put my feet on the ground in the airport. I'm so like low maintenance in the airport. Like, I'm doing everything to expedite my process, so I don't have any, like, it's gonna be shit that happen, but I don't have like as many chances to fucking run into issues, because I've already set it up in a way to be like, I'm gonna be as least annoyed as possible. I got my snacks, I got my seat that I want, that people ain't gonna annoy me, my bags are the way I need them to be, I don't gotta stop at baggage claim. The most I gotta do when that plane land is go to my Uber or whatever I got set up and go where I need to go. So my experience is a little different. For me, the worst shit has been like the plane itself, like deplaning.
Things that you can't control.
Things you can't control. Trying to control all the shit I can control is the easiest part of flying for me. So that's what's made it easy for me.
So for things that you can't control, like I know one of my best friends, it really took her like an extra like night or two to get home, because wherever they were flying from, I think she was coming from Florida or something, whatever. But she told me how they needed to get a hotel. The airline didn't reimburse them for the hotel. They had to, get a rental car, or a chauffeur, I would say, from the airport to their hotel, because their flight got canceled. So when it comes to instances like that, like, you need to make it home for something. Because when we plan our flights, we plan it within reason, because we got, like you said, something to do right when we land. So for those instances where it's like, I can't afford to be stuck in this country for another day or two, or I can't afford to not be home on this date. Like, I have to be home at this day. Like, how does that make you feel? Especially if they don't reimburse you or give you flight miles.
The inconveniences is crazy. Me and Brianna have experienced a lot. Like Jamaica, like it was the whole COVID thing going. So if you had COVID, you would have to stay at the airport or stay at the resort for extra days.
And then we also had to pay that fee.
Yeah, you have to pay that. It's like the travel fee at the time.
But it was like a per night.
Yeah.
But you was like manual, like basically like, what did you say, like an insurance? Like basically like if we did have COVID, the insurance would pay for like additional stays at the resort.
Yeah, so like different things like that. Also like inconveniences, like Brianna bags got lost at the airport.
Oh, we went to Chicago and we got into it with the girl, and she was like,
yeah, no, they were.
What she did?
They were just being very rude about people's luggage being lost and like.
This is during the holidays, right?
Yeah,
that happened to me too. I was without my bags for
on
3
a direct
weeks.
flight, like no nonstop, and they kept saying, "Oh, she was saying that we had to pay for it." And I said, "I'm not paying for it." And then she was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "No, I'm on a direct flight from Houston. My bag should have been on that flight. Like I didn't have no connecting flight."
Yeah, so like that as well. But even like I said, most recently during that like data, a little hack or breach or whatever was going on with that. Like I said, my trip was from Wednesday to Friday, and my flight got canceled 3 times, and my company luckily was able to reimburse. But I said a lot of people were on flights or traveling with their families, and They didn't have companies that reimbursed them, or they had to pay out of pocket. And there's no regulations, which, speaking of politics, that's one thing that I want my next candidate to fight for, is putting regulations on airports, because you shouldn't price surge and like
oversell flights.
Yeah, like in a distress situation
that they cause.
Like during especially if it's nothing in terms of the people who have things to do with it. But like, if it's something like, you know what I'm saying, holidays or spring breaks, or raise that up.
Stuff within reason.
But if it's like something on y'all end, or a pandemic or something like that, and you raising flights that will normally be $200 to $500 and $700,
unreasonably.
Like a lot of the people with us, they had to fly by to nearby cities, and they had to have their families drive 2-3 hours to pick them up, and we had to go from nonstop flights to, for me, I had to fly to Utah.
And remember, you couldn't even fly to LAX. You had to fly to Burbank.
I couldn't even do the main airport in LA. I had to go to like the local Burbank airport, which was an hour away. So
a $50 Uber.
Oh wow!
At first it was
and
$70.
they're not reimbursing for that.
Yeah, I mean, luckily
Eventually
I was able to get reimbursed for those things. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I know people who were not able to do those things, or weren't a part of places that allowed you to do that. So yeah, in terms of how I handle it, it's the same way I handle the rest of the shit. It's like, I might freak out for a little bit. I might be in my feelings, but I try to remember that it's not just something happening to me. Like, this shit is happening to like everybody. So take that into perspective. Like, try to look at the good. Like, okay, like for me, I got an extra day in LA. My company comped another night at a hotel, like a very nice hotel. The beach was across the street from me. I have family in LA, so I was able to hang out for an extra day. So trying to find the little bright moments in it, you know what I'm saying? But also just trying to be like, shit's happening to everybody else. So don't freak out. And like we said, the airport is already high anxiety to begin with. So once you're able to find a flight home and do what you can do, just try to do the best you can do with it. So,
I agree with that, especially if you do have some positive to look for people that are traveling because it's something dire or detrimental. That's when my heart opens up even more. Like if you visited a dying relative in a hospital and this was the last flight that you could possibly catch, and then you got swept up in it, or for instance, like when it was the what was that weather issue that happened the winter before last, and my luggage was literally in St. Louis. I had a connecting flight, so we were changing planes. So it's like, if I'm landing and people are deplaning, y'all should be taking the luggage off the plane and putting them on the other plane. There's no reason why, if I'm walking around getting to the next flight, my luggage ain't getting to the next flight. It makes absolutely no sense. But see, that's the thing. I had to, because like when my dad died, I knew I was going to be bringing home some of his belongings. You know what I mean? So it's like I had to make room for that extra type of baggage. But then for me to go 3 weeks, mind you, I done came home, had my time, ended up back in Atlanta. And my stuff was like, oh yeah, well we can either keep it in Chicago for you because it's arrived in Chicago, or we can ship it to you in Atlanta. I had to wait for my stuff to cycle through from St. Louis to back to Chicago, then I had to have my luggage mailed to my job. I had to fill out a whole description on this is what I had, blah blah. Thankfully, I have a photographic memory, so I pretty much articled everything in my bag. But my whole thing was, that whole time I was at home, I had no clothes. No underwear but what was on my body, no body products, no nothing. I just had my purse and my dog, and that is very stressful. Just imagine if I was coming home and I needed something in that bag that I had to check, and it's like they don't think about the inconvenience with that. Like thankfully they reimbursed me for the value of what I had going on, but even that was a weight. You know what I mean? And it doesn't mean that whatever else was in that bag wasn't worth more than that, because I mean, my perfume was worth a third of the bag. You know what I mean? So it's just like, you're not fully compensating me for everything that I need at that time. And then the inconvenience, the peace of mind. It's like me having to try to remember what I had. And then on top of that, I had to also itemize what food I had in between that time, because you don't know what credit cards or whatever else I had in that bag. So now you're literally leaving me destitute. Like, what if what I needed was everything that I had required in order for me to have a successful trip? You don't know what's in that bag. It's not just luggage and clothes in a bag. It's more than that. Sometimes we're traveling with heartfelt possessions or whatever have you, and how the situation was handled with the airline, it was more so like, you're gonna get your stuff. Like, it's not life or death. And it's like,
some things may be sentimental. It's not about it being life or death. Of course, I'm not going to die that I don't have my bag. But some people have their medications in their bag.
Yeah.
So it's like, and then waiting weeks for some type of recompense is not a good exchange.
Yeah.
It's like, have some sympathy with what you're doing. Like, y'all still got y'all flights. Y'all can still do whatever y'all want to do. Y'all ain't worried about y'all bags being stuck nowhere. This don't affect y'all how it affects us. So at the very least, have some empathy, have some sympathy. Be nice in your delivery. Like, yeah, you might be stressed out, but at the end of the day, you chose this job. I didn't choose this job. I didn't choose for the weather to happen the way it happened, but because y'all know that there's sometimes are severe inclement weather, y'all should have prepared. It's not my fault y'all didn't prepare.
I agree. I definitely agree with that.
That irked my soul.
Yeah.
Anything else y'all want to add to?
I had something to say.
I mean, I can jump in while you think. Like,
Okay.
you got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say, even though that punk ass bitch at Midway Airport really pissed me off, I really do appreciate Southwest because I got all my money reimbursed.
That is true. They do reimburse.
And me and Dion got drunk at that airport bar. Casamigos shots.
On deck. Yeah.
And I don't like you, bitch, that didn't let Swervy on the plane. I do remember you, ho.
That's they dog.
But honestly, I feel like me and Southwest have a very toxic relationship because, like, I be like, I'm done fucking with Southwest, but then Southwest have fucking round trip flights for $175, and then now I'm back on that bitch. But as soon as I get my money up, I'm not fucking with you no more, Southwest. So
y'all did come through for me in the time of need. Granted, y'all were the ones that like mishandled my bag, and I was without my clothes for 3 weeks. But I will say I feel safe on Southwest flights. Yes, Southwest could be a little bit ghetto. It's like they the like ghetto people, the ghetto black people of the airline industry. I don't care what nobody say. This is my opinion, whatever. I know for sure. Like when I'm on Spirit, I have to fear for my life. I do. Like when it comes to landing and stuff like that, it's like everybody's just distracted. It seems like the pilots who have to first learn how to be a pilot first go to Spirit. And you feel it on the plane. Like I remember landing one time and I was shaking like a stripper and my best friend was picking me up and I was like, hurry up, get me out of here now. Like my nerves were so bad. You know what I mean? United, I just don't feel like anybody is friendly. So my top 2 airlines are Delta and Southwest. Granted, Southwest come through with them deals and I don't have to pay for extra baggage. And Delta, it don't matter what walk of life you come from, you just feel important. You feel taken care of. You feel like a celebrity. You feel like you matter and that you're valued. So I'm going to always choose Southwest or Delta Airlines first.
I would just say don't fly Spirit. Also, like in terms of certain things, like I know we try to cut corners and save bread for different reasons, but certain things you can't be cheap about. And like flying, like a lot of times, not to be dramatic, can be your life. Like so I don't fly Spirit for multiple reasons like that, because one, they make you pay for everything, and two, like it's very rinky dinky. But I would just, going back to your part about people being more empathetic and all of that stuff, like it would be great for them to be, that would be very ideal. But again, like even like you said, you didn't make them choose it. But at the end of the day, that's just a job to certain people. And like they clock out at a certain time like we do. And I'm pretty sure, just to be devil's advocate, even though like fuck them, like they probably like on a daily, like how nurses would talk to you, like deal with a million like people's like problems and like people missing their flights by last minute or being too late or all this, like they probably see that all day. So like it probably just like become like something that like is like they don't even care about it for real like that. So yeah, those would be just my last remarks on this. Is just try to make sure you not cheap on terms of your flight. You find something that you're comfortable with. You know, you make sure you find like the little things. Like last part too, even in terms of like having clothes and like sentimental things. Like even like I said, in terms of LA, when my flight got canceled, like I packed, like I felt like I overpacked, but like I used all my clothes, and like that's another thing to consider too. Like people could be at a certain point when it's like, I didn't pack enough to be here for these amount of days, and like we don't have it like at the house where you can wash and dry your clothes and things like that. So you're either spending more money on clothes or having to figure it out. And a lot of people was at the airport rusty, crusty, and dusty, like because it was a lot going on. But yeah, just try to find your little things that make you comfortable when flying, and also understand that there are going to be some inconveniences. So woosah through it.
And the one thing we gotta remember, y'all, Unless we're flying private, we are riding public transportation
That
in
is
the
true.
air.
That is true.
So just like the grade.
That's like going to a public school versus going to a private school. That's true. Well, I thank y'all for tuning in to this week's episode of Talk to Tot. Real people, real talk, real life. This is Tatiana Monet, encouraging y'all to like, follow, and subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram at Tatiana Monet, or the Instagram for the podcast, which is _TalktoTat. I'm also on TikTok as Tatiana_Monet. Y'all drop y'all handles.
You can follow me on Instagram at It's B Thang. ITSBTHANG. It's B Thang.
Instagram, Illitre. I ain't gonna spell it for y'all because y'all some smart individuals. I already know. Cause
That's the teacher in here coming up.
Y'all watch this show, so I know y'all smart. So
thank y'all again, and please, again, if you have any questions or if you want to add some topics or you want to be a guest on the show, just let me know. This is your girl Tatiana Monet, over and out. Bye.